All right, so we are here with Ryland at Central Baptist Church, and Kate is not here yet, so I'm gonna go over some visual related stuff with him. So why don't you take us back into the booth and show us what you have going on for like presentation and live stream and all that.
Sweet. All right, we'll go in here to the booth. We redid this sound booth actually during when we were shut down for COVID, which was great. We used to be only up here in this top level. And in this top level, we've got all of our stream director sits here, and we've got two of the old ATEM Studio HDs that we're running. We run one of the ATEMs runs all 8 of our cameras, and that feeds into our second ATEM. So it's a little unorthodox the way we're doing it, but the second ATEM adds our key and our fill, and then we add graphics on top of the cameras here. We have like a stage feed where if somebody's like presenting on stage, it feeds right into here. We have an Apple TV. If we've done that a couple times where like we've done like live giveaways and somebody's phone was casting to it and it did the wheel and all that stuff. So that's how that's all set up, and that's running into a Web Presenter HD and then the old HyperDeck Mini, I think is what it is. So that's kind of all of our camera stuff. And then this station over here is not set up, but we do a live teleprompting that for our pastor. He does teleprompter, and they're just scrolling on his laptop basically, and that's just feeding onto this TV in front that has a special like theft or not theft security, you know, like a little film on it. So it's a very narrow viewing angle, and he likes that. It's been pretty cool. So that's kind of this station for our stream director, and they sit up here on the top level. Down on the bottom level, we have our lighting, which is running Jans Vista. We're still actually on the old school Jans Vista version 2. It just works for us with the little M1. And then this is Pro Presenter 7. And we just got a couple of screens here showing our outputs. The way we have Pro Presenter set up is we're using the Decklink Duo to send out our key and fill, and also to send our main feed to our projector through the ATEM so we can choose something else if we want. We do not do iMag here, so all of this tech is set up around, we don't have to worry about iMag, so if that's your case, you might need to think about it differently. But so ProPresenter is handling everything for us. We run all of our click tracks and loops through ProPresenter 7, all of our sermon stuff. We run everything on timelines. And so, like if I fire this timeline, you'll see that it automatically changes our stream look with our lower thirds. And I'll turn on this little speaker here so you can hear it.
Power on.
So we basically add an MP3 up here in the timeline. It's just a left-right mix of what we're doing. And then we record these cues. So that way we can have it all preset. I'm really, really passionate about making sure all of our lyrics are on time and cued correctly, because I'm trying to make a distraction-free environment if I can. And we don't automate everything. We could with MIDI and all that, but we don't do that much. But that's how ProPresenter is working for us on a Sunday morning. We're also sending out a hallway feed that drives all of our hallway TVs. So this is the announcement layer in ProPresenter. So we've got a custom clear group set up that we can clear everything except the hallways. So you can do that by just doing new key mappings in Pro 7 if you want to. And we're just running a little stream deck to do a couple different things. If we fire our video announcements, you can see on here that we have our in-house look where we're like dismissing our kids. So that's going to go up to our main screens. But then our stream is getting a completely different video because they don't care about kids being dismissed. And so we have another pastor on there that's sending these videos simultaneously, and it's saying something to them online, trying to be purposeful about, what content they're getting, so they're not just spectators, and we're being, we're saying something to them on purpose, talking about this upcoming sermon, how can we connect with them. So that took a lot of finagling and figuring out how to do that. It's sending audio over the SDI line from the Decklink Duo into the ATEM. I think I've got a video on my channel about that if you want to dive into all that.
We'll link it.
So, because it was fun. It was a lot of fun to figure out. But it's working now. It's great. But the Stream Deck really helps with that, because the Stream Deck, it's actually changing the macros on the ATEM for us and firing the video cues, the different layers, all at the same time with one push of a button. Try to make it just really easy on my operators to where anybody can come in here on Sunday morning and they just know, hit the next button or hit the button on the stream deck, and it's all taken care of. So try to make them look good. Nice. So that's ProPresenter. I might have missed a couple things, and then this is Audio Land. We run the Midas M32. Still rocking that. We've had it for a long time. And if you want to hear how it sounds, you can, I don't know, maybe they'll play something, or you can go check it out at cbcowasso.com.
The trend continues for churches that use the same live stream mix strategy that I use at my small church. There's no extra mixer, no DAW, and no extra volunteers, just a simple strategy that creates a great live stream mix from your room mix. I have a course that'll walk you through how to implement this strategy at your church. Get access to it for free by using the link in the description. I call the course Live Stream Mix Made Simple. It really is the easiest way to create a great live stream mix. You might want to press pause and go get access to that course right now before you forget. The link is in the description. All right, now back to the tour.
Something else that we do is we run Spotify off of this iPad. And so this iPad is actually going into our rack mount mixer over here. And so this rack mount mixer is basically controlling what goes to our hallways. And so we have a board mix that's going to have the board, or we have the iPad right here. And that's going to feed back into the board if we want to, so we can throw the iPad into the room if we want to. But that's really just mainly for our hallways. You know, we got speakers outside and just trying to create that environment when people come in, so it's not just quiet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Show us your cool little camera mount that you had custom made here.
Okay, so starting with this guy right here, our big camera pole. If you guys have seen the Savvy mounts, they make amazing poles that you can mount your camera stuff to without taking up a giant, footprint with your tripod. So we had a guy weld this pipe together, and it is bolted into the concrete, and we basically cut out a hole for this pipe to fit up. And then we've got this is called a hi-hat bowl riser, I guess is what it is, with a 75 millimeter bowl. And then it's just got your fluid head on top of it. We have a big stack here. And then this is a Bestcore MP101, which can be moved with a remote. So our stream director is actually controlling the pan and tilt. But then this DVX200 that's sitting on top of here has LANC. And so he's also got a zoom controller. So he can control pan, tilt, and zoom to reposition the camera for different shots. So he's not panning and tilting and zooming at the same time like you maybe could if you were sitting here doing it with your hands. But it is really handy to be able to reframe shots or do like a really slow zoom out or slow zoom in. And then this pole is also holding this little Panasonic G7 for our wide shot. That's just a static wide shot, a safe shot. And so it's just on a little magic arm here that sits there. And then this camera right here is a GH4. We've got this really luxurious piece of conduit that you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's that I basically just added onto the old school arm to make it longer. So whoever's sitting here doesn't have to reach up, to grab it. And this person is doing our follow cam during our sermon. That's the only time this camera is used. The rest of the time we are using this G7 on a Ronin SC gimbal. And so this is all over our Teradek Ace 500, which is the wireless HDMI stuff. And that's been super rock solid. We've used the Ace 500 for, I think, maybe 3 years now. We recently picked up the Teradek Spark 4K, and we use that on our cable cam. But that roaming cam setup is it's amazing. It just helps your live stream so much. So if you don't have something like that, look into doing something like that.
Cool. What about your hand cam over there? Let's check that out.
Let's go look at the cable cam. Everybody's favorite little toy. This is a interesting piece of tech. So if you guys follow Church Tech World, you've probably seen the Defy dactyl cams, these giant cable cams. Well, they're like super expensive. So I came across this guy on Kickstarter, This is the Viral Light cable cam, and so I backed it back in the day. I think it was like $300, and you can see it's got a mode on it where it will just loop back and forth. And so we've got just a light G7 on here on a Moza Air gimbal, and that's sending video back to the ATEM with that Teradek Spark 4K. And so you set your in stops basically, and it'll just loop back and forth. And a cool thing about that gimbal is our guys in the booth, we'll have somebody that has the remote to this gimbal, and they can control pan of it. So they can do the parallaxing kind of thing, like as it's going that way, they're panning to keep the stage in the center. Now, we don't have remote zoom, which would be next level, but right now we're happy with that. With the angle of our wall, it kind of creates that depth anyways as it's kind of going back and forth. So that's definitely not something you need, but it's a cool cherry on top,
Let's head up to the front, and you can show us your stage lighting.
Well, everything that I've done here has to be on a shoestring budget. This has been we've built this over the last 10 years. You should have seen it 10 years ago. But basically, I've got 3 layers of stage lighting to kind of create different looks. We have the LED tape, which is just Amazon special, and we have used that in various ways, lighting our crosses, doing the different diagonals. So we got the LED tape, and then we have our ground and up in the air movers. Those are Chauvet Intimidator 255 IRCs. I think they don't make those anymore. I think they're now up to the 265 IRCs, but same idea. And we've had these for, 7-8 years, and they've been great. They're not the brightest fixture in the world, but they balance well with our key lighting and kind of the levels we have set. And so with good haze, they look really good. And then the third level is just the Edison bulbs that we have everywhere. We've got these giant fake sky pans in the back that are just wash tubs and that we painted, and then the big Edison bulbs. And so that way we just can vary the looks, and it's not always just the same kind of feeling as we're doing these different lighting looks. Right now we've got them all on, but typically we layer them in different ways and stuff. So it's been a labor of love though. And then we have some little scenic stuff with the mesh window screening that you crumple up and put on things. Would like to move away from the scenic look and just more lighting looks, but for now that's what we have. We don't have a good backstage, so we kind of create a fake backstage with these walls.
Nice. I dig it. I think it looks really good and coherent. Everything goes together well.
Thanks, man.
I like it.
Yeah, it works. It works for our space.
And you got your ginormous custom projector screen up there.
Yes, the custom projector screen. That cost us about $600 to make. And Carl's Place does a great job if you need a big projector screen. And it's being fed by a laser projector that's only a 6,500 lumen projector, Panasonic. So, but it does the job because we can control ambient light in here.
Yeah.
If we had windows and stuff, we might be a different story. But
you can't tell on camera, but that screen is ginormous, and it looks really good. So, good job on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's 24 feet wide.
24 feet wide.
Yeah.
Golly. I can't imagine if you'd gotten an LED screen like ours, how much it would be for one that size.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it'd be pricey. It'd be a few years budget worth for me. So something else that we have that's cool that some people find interesting is we utilize these little, motorized camera sliders. We only have 2 camera operators on a Sunday morning, one that's roaming and one that's side stage. So I try to add motion into the camera shots however I can. This camera is just focused here on me on the middle, and it kind of gets the screen behind me, and it's just looping back and forth. And the cool thing about these is it will also pan mechanically the camera very slowly, and you can set that just manually, and it just loops back and forth.
I love your custom cabinet that you built.
Yes, this custom cabinet we thought was an amazing idea because we used to just have it sitting on the chairs. So I had an old dude in our church make this for us. It's beautifully done. It's got the soft close cabinet doors and everything, but it becomes like this bass trap, honestly. So now we've got the sliders sitting on these sound absorption stuff because it was getting vibrations all of a sudden. where before just sitting on the chairs it didn't. So just be careful if you do that. Like maybe don't make it actually an enclosed chamber, just like some kind of stand.
Everybody needs one of those old dudes that can build stuff.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. They built the camera pole, they built the whole sound booth. Everything is DIY around here. So
Love it.
And we also have another camera slider up here on the drums. This camera has not turned off in probably 3 years because I got it for $100 on eBay. It's a G7, and once I got it on, it never turns off. But it's been fine the whole time. And so this is just parallaxing around the drums. And it works really good on drums because you've got some stuff up close to kind of emphasize that movement. Like sometimes people will put these sliders somewhere, sitting in the back of the room. You can't really even tell it's moving because this is only 48 inches, which is a really big slider. But this is as fast as it can go. So, but we love this shot. It helps so much, kind of add some movement to that drum shot. So one other little rig that we have for our camera stuff is over here in the corner. It's another unmanned shot. I'll show it to you. All right, so this camera is just a side shot of the stage, but what's the party trick on this one is that it's got this unit called the PD Live Air 2, and it's a motorized unit that I just added gears onto this lens, and it will constantly zoom in and out in a loop. So this camera is always zooming in and out over about a 20-second period, and that's controlled with this really, really old iPod Shuffle via Bluetooth. And so, but it's just Bluetooth to set those parameters. And so we just set this every Sunday morning, and it just does its thing over the service. But it's just another one of those shots where if this is just sitting here, like not doing anything, you don't really end up going to it very much because it's just kind of a boring shot. But I mean, if people are standing here, hands raised in the shot, that kind of thing, and it's just that slow zoom in and out, it just adds a more dynamic shot to it. So I have a video about that as well on my channel. So
very cool. So what kind of Hazer you got?
So Haze is what is it called? It's the Ultratech Radiance, which is about a $1,300 unit, I think. It's water-based. We've used like a DF50 in here before, but, well, good morning, sire.
Look who it is.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Somebody
The
decided to
bearded
show
brother
up.
is in the house.
The bearded brother. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too. Do you want me to start that over?
That's cool. Let's
All
keep
right.
going.
All right, let's go. I'll
Kate
show you.
interrupted us.
This is a very fancy setup back here. So the deal with haze is you got to like figure out dispersion, right? So we got the Radiance Hazer feeding into this beautiful fan right here that just pushes the haze up. And then we have that blower motor that actually pushes the haze even further out. And so we used this much haze in 2 years. This thing like takes nothing, no fluid hardly at all. It sips. So I just put a new bottle on it a couple months ago. But yeah, we love the Radiance Hazer. We had a Chauvet Am Haze before this, and it broke like 4 times. And I was just like, no, we're going to spend just a little bit more money. And it's been good. It's been really good. Nice.
We'd love to have a CO2 Hazer, but they cost way too much.
Yeah. Get the MDG atmosphere or something like that, you know. But that's just, they're so pricey. But yeah, the Radiance is a good kind of like next step up, I think.
Nice. Good to know.
What was the coolest thing that stuck out to you on this tour? Let me know in the comments. If you couldn't tell, Ryland is a master of excellence on a budget. And not only that, but he really knows how to think through the little things and Macgyver his way into some great tools for his worship ministry. If you've never checked out Ryland's YouTube channel, please do so. We'll leave a link in the description. And there you'll find videos that further explain the stuff he talked about in this tour. Ryland also has a killer front of house setup and a really clever piano setup. If you want to see me tour these things with Ryland, you can click the link on your screen or in the description. If you want to see more tours like this one, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to see future content, and we'll see you next time.